John G. Sutton, Tales from the Jails. Let's talk today a little bit about details and various jobs that were allocated to you when you were working as a prison officer at specifically at Strangeways. Now, you've probably seen video footage of the centre of Strangeways where they had what's known as a rotunda, and the wings all went off like bicycle spoke. Yeah, that's it. That was it. That's called the panopticon. Yeah, if you stand in the middle, you can see all down the wings. You can't see down the ones because they're down. Some of them are covered over. Yeah, but you can see down the wings. Yeah, and as you come through the main entrance, yeah, through the big wooden and oak iron gates, yeah, straight ahead, up the steps, yeah, on the right hand side, yeah, as you went through is the governor's office. That was Norman Brown's office. Straight forward ahead on the left hand side down, yeah, that's the records office. That's where I worked. I was the records officer for 18 months. And just before you get to that, there was the canteen. They called it the Cardoma. Yeah, that's where you go and get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Now, at the right at the front, as you go up the steps on either side, there were planters, you know, where you put plants in. And for some reason, these had been left, you know, nobody had put anything in there. So, for a joke, I mean, I know I'm a bit mad. I was a bit mad at the time. No wonder they drove me mad. I got some seed potatoes, yeah? And I put the seed potatoes in the planters, in the plant boxes, yeah? And covered them up right down at the bottom of the thing, covered them up with soil. So as the year went on, these these potatoes were growing up, and everybody, people were looking at them thinking, I wonder what kind of flowers these are going to be. Yeah, they weren't flowers, folks. They were King Edward potatoes. Yeah, it was a joke, that. Nobody knew. I never said anything to anybody about that. Yeah, I used to play a few jokes, you know, because otherwise you'd be insane, wouldn't you? I mean, it's just a horrible place to be, so you've got to lighten it up. One day I was on, I had to go up and get some travel expenses from the top office, and there was me and another guy. We were going on some kind of taking some prisoners, and we had to get a warrant or expenses and all that. So we went up to see, and the lady who she was a what's known as a principal officer, you know, in the civil service, and you had to go in there, and I didn't like this lady. She was a right snooty bitch, you know, one of these. Right, officer, I'll see you in a minute. Yes, just wait there, you know. So I said to this guy I was with, I said, I don't like this bitch, you know. I said, let's have a joke. I said, and he'd shown me earlier, he got this pornographic book with pictures of females and men interacting in very intimate poses. I said, we'll have a joke here. I said, I know that she likes Manchester United, yeah, and the players. I said, we'll go up there, and when we're there in her office, I'll say to her, oh, you like Manchester United, yeah? Because she's got a picture of Manchester United on a wall in the office, yeah? She said, oh, yes. I said, mine got a picture of George Best here. Sure. And I said, and then you open the pornographic book and show one of the pictures, you know? Kind of amused me, you know. I must be mad. Anyway, we gets up to the office. Sure enough, officers, yes, do come in, you know. Da di da di da. Sat behind a desk, writing out the travel warrants and all the rest of it. And I said, oh yes, United. I said, you see, you've got a poster there. You keen on Manchester United? Oh yeah, she said, I've been a United follower all my life. She said, absolutely do love United. I said, my mate's got a picture of Georgie Best. I said, sure. Oh, she said, let me have a look. So he's pictures out this big black bloke with a todger, must have been about that long, you know. And he showed her this picture. He said, is that... he said, is that him? Yeah, we got reported. Yeah, Norman Brown called us into the office. Said, what are you doing? What the hell are you playing at? Said, I had a formal complaint from the principal officer up in the office. Says, you've been showing her pictures. I said, well, I couldn't help it. I said, she's a right snooty bitch. He said, actually, he said, I agree. He said, but don't do it again, for God's sake. Yeah, seriously, yeah. So if you went straight through, that's F wing, by the way, where Norman Brown's office was on the right, and the records on the left, and the canteen Cardoma was on the left as well. But on the first one, straight ahead, you come to another set of doors, another set of steps. You go up there, through that door, and that's the rotunda, yeah. But as you went through the door, on the left-hand side, there was a detail board where they put and they had the names of the shifts, you know, A shift, B shift, yeah, and you'd have your name on the board and your details. So like mine, it might say Sutton Records Office, yeah. And there was one guy there. He was an auxiliary officer. He wasn't a fully commissioned prison officer. He was an auxiliary officer. That's somebody who's hired by the prison to assist in the virtual mundane tasks like escorting prisoners around the prison, or taking messages here, there and everywhere, or with in the records office I had two auxiliary officers working with me and another discipline officer, and they were there to actually bring the records in, yeah. But there was one of the guys there, and if he didn't like his detail, yeah, when he saw it on the board, he used to lick his thumb, because they wrote it up in marker pen, you see. So lick his thumb and rub that out, yeah. Well, but if he didn't like the detail he'd got, you know, so he'd rub it off. We used to call him Blackfinger. You can always tell if he'd been rubbing the detail, because he had a big black finger, yeah. So I was in the records office, and when I took it over, the records office was in complete disarray. I mean, I'm not blowing my own trumpet here, but seriously, it was in disarray. The records were all over the place. They weren't stacked in alphabetical order. They were. It was unkempt. The books, the record books, because what happened then? I mean, we're going back to the days when everything was done like Mr. Micawber, you know, with a pen and ink. It wasn't exactly a quill, you know, but it might as well have been, you know. So you had to write, everybody come in, you know, they came in with the records. You had to file the records. You had to write the name down in the book, name and number, yeah. So say you were Smith J, so it'd be Smith J and your number, yeah, and then your location, yeah. So I'd get the locations from the main wing. It was quite a task, believe me. You didn't stop, you know, from the minute you got in there in the morning, right through to the end. You were writing records all the way through. And we used to get trainee staff, you know, staff who came in who were under you know, they were in the induction period, and they would keep asking me questions. Well, I ain't got time, you know. I mean, I'm busy, you know. I've got to do this, and I've got to keep at it, you know. So I actually did it. So what I did was, one weekend I took some time and I actually wrote, you know, the rules and regulations, how to manage and maintain the records office, and it ran into about 6 or 7 pages, you know. Well, on entrance, they had to enter the photographs, yeah. You had to enter the photographs. You had to have the warrants kept in there, you know. So you had a copy of the warrants, yeah, and that was in there, and certain things had to be sent to head office and the main office. It was, generally speaking, quite a thing, and all the records, all the new records, had to be sent to the governor, so that on the first day, I think the governor would see all new receptions, yeah, but he had to see the records that went with them. And some of the photographs that came in were quite amusing, you know, because it was just one of the staff who was taking the photographs, and some of them were really funny. There was one guy there, when he'd take his photograph, he got this great big red conch, yeah, because he'd obviously been pissing it up for years. So, and I used to get the funniest photographs and put them in like a file, you know, an open file, stick the photographs in, you know, clip them in, you know, yeah. And I used to write little captions underneath, and that one I wrote cider with Rosie, stuff like that. And yeah, and then there was one where he had the camera had obviously moved, and it looked like he'd got this thing on the end of his nose, yeah. And I wrote Strangeways feather balancing champion 1969 and stuff like that. Yeah, it's funny, you know. I mean, and one day they disappeared. You know, I must have had about 100 of these, yeah, because when they came through, I picked all the silly ones and wrote daft captions. When it disappeared, my file. Somebody had taken it home. I mean, somebody somewhere has got my file. Believe me. Yeah. Anyway, that's how they did the allocation. They used to write your details and put them on that board, and that's where it went. So then there are little silly stories and of what happened at Strangeways. So I was going to sing you a song today and a poem, yeah, because I think you deserve it. Because I missed out yesterday, mainly because my wife was calling me to have my evening meal when I was recording it. So I'm a little bit earlier today. So I'm going to sing you a song here, which is, I'm not sure if this is appropriate really, because I know there's a lot of ladies watch this channel, but this is a song that somebody gave me a record. It was by a man called Ivor Biggin, yeah, which in actual fact, it's nothing to do with me. That's the name of the artist. And the song goes something like this. My mother said I never should play with the naughty girls in the wood. Is that how it goes, yeah? But yeah, anyway, something like that. But I'm not going to go any further with it, yeah, because I just don't think it's appropriate. Anyway, so that my mother said I never should play with the naughty girls in the wood. So anyway, no doubt if you look it up, you'll find it. Ivor Biggin, and this is a poem that I'm going to read to you now. Are you ready? Here we go. This is the Jumblies by Edward Lear. I'll just do a couple of verses. They went to sea in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they went to sea. In spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn, on a stormy day, in a sieve they went to sea. And when the sieve turned round and round, and everyone cried, "You'll all be drowned," they called aloud, "Our sieve ain't big, but we don't care a button, we don't care a fig. In a sieve we'll go to sea." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed away in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they sailed so far, with only a beautiful pea-green veil, tied with a ribbon by way of a sail, to a small tobacco pipe mast. And everyone said who saw them go, "Oh, they won't be soon upset, you know, for the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what may, it's extremely wrong in a sieve to sail so fast." Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. Well, there you are, you see. They went to sea in a sieve, and I'm off now to get a coffee, and no doubt we'll speak soon. This is John G. Sutton, Tales from the Jails. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all the rest of it. Thank you very much.